Hi, this is Scott Silverman, and I'm here talking with Stormie Grace about her upcoming NCGR April 2023 workshop. Stormie, what are your hopes and dreams for the workshop on April 22nd, 2023 that you'll be giving to the Florida Atlantic Chapter of the NCGR, if you have any?
I do. I think I have a vision. I'm a Virgo rising. I have a vision of what I would like to see happen. And really to give this talk, my hope is that it calls to astrologers or people who are moving professionally with astrology into their business more, because we tend to be so wonderfully creative and intuitive, and sometimes we miss the actual practical business functions that need to be in place for us to be successful. And especially as we're here, we've arrived, we are officially in this digital revolution, there are some key components that maybe you didn't have to work with your business before. And now, you don't send out a business resume, but we do have a media kit. And is your media kit up to date? And what goes in that? And how does that work? Because more than anything, for me, I want astrologers to not only know that they can do the work that they love, but to be successful with it as well. We're in a good season, we astrologers. I think we've been in the light, we've been in the dark, we've been in the light, and we're in the light right now. So my vision and my hope for the workshop is that people leave it feeling like their business is a little bit more organized. They leave with some questions on how they can pivot and or improve something they're doing that might make that structure for their success better and possible. So I do have a vision.
Wonderful. Good. As you know, I love visions. Now, which is more important, the birth chart of a business, the time of the first economic transaction, which is money changing hands for services, its IPO, or the chart of its CEO, chief executive officer, or ruler? And yes, you may say they're all important and rank them.
Yes. So for me, when I'm looking specifically kind of down this lens of helping people build their business or rebrand it, the most important thing to me is the date and the time that you choose your business incorporation to actually become a business, which to me, I do not use the first time that you got paid. I use when did the state know that you are a business, which means you're also going to commit to paying taxes and run like a business, right? Because we can do freelance kind of work and that's fine. And I think that those charts work as well. But the lens that I'm using specifically is under the assumption that you are a functioning legal business. So what's most important to me is that. But sometimes we'll have people who started a business and they said, I don't know what time, I just became a business, and that's fine. So we can choose a rebranding date. And that's similar to a company that will do an IPO or they'll do an acquisition, right? And so I just want the date and time that you did that.
What's a rebranding date? I'm feeling analog, so just explain that briefly.
Yeah, it's where you've already had the business or the business is not it's not in alignment, it's not producing, something is going sideways with this, and we need kind of a rebirth to this business. So you can either elect a date if that's what you're going to do. I've had people not elect a date to restart this business and they just pick a date and time that they like. That is your rebranding.
Are they legally restarting it or are they just intentionally restarting it?
Yeah, sometimes it's a combination of both. It depends, because sometimes what we've had is people who are operating a business under a sole proprietorship. So you don't need to be an LLC, you don't need to be an S corp, you don't need to be any of those things, and you are still legally paying your taxes. But then they move and they want to be an LLC for the protections and things that are offered there, or they want to change to an S corp. Sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes it's just, I just need to rebrand. But to do it, if we're not going to pull in the legal structure, I will ask the person, okay, what is the significant thing that you will do that rebrands this business? Are you changing your colors? Is it the update to the website? Are you going to put out a new offering? What is your significant action?
Are the trademark or insignia, right?
Yeah. Anything, right? Like, what is your significant investment in the birth of this business, right? Like there's no life without labor. That's where I go with it. So, so I will use any one of those. So to answer your question, yes, they're all significant. based on what are we doing here? And I really think that that comes down to a personal conversation with your astrologer or
And
yourself.
CEOs change, so maybe the CEO chart isn't the all-important chart. As we've seen, companies move forward, particularly the really big ones. Okay,
Yeah.
have you ever done an astrological intervention at the request of a client? And well, we hope the answer to this question is yes. Turned a failing business into a successful one? And if so, what happened?
Absolutely. I have, and I did. I had the privilege. Let me really say that because I do think it's a privilege because when a business is failing, it's heartbreaking and it's scary and it's loaded with a lot of fear and vulnerability for people. And so I've had the privilege this last year to work on 4 or 5. Like I got a good handful that we got to get into last year. And what we did was kind of what I was talking about before. We picked a rebranding. But on one of the businesses, I can tell you, we closed that old business and she started a completely different business that was much more in alignment with what she actually needed to be offering. So yes, absolutely have done it. And then we get to see the motion get going based on this business chart and based on the practical things that you put in place, because so much of the workshop that we're going to go into has to do with, yes, astrology. We're going to meet the business chart. We're going to find out some of these things. And the rest are the practicalities, because we cannot zoom past the practicalities. You've got to have your books set up, and you can astro that all you want. But if you just didn't do the dang books, you didn't do the books. You know? So some of this is very Taurian. I understand the practical sense coming out, but
Hey, that's what Tauruses are for in a lot of ways, right?
right, I
Oh,
want you to make money. I want you to be successful. I want you to have this forever.
and you want us to have value. Yes,
Yes.
yes. Now, have you ever done a composite chart for the board members of a particular company? And if so, did you include the company's birth chart itself in the group composite?
So not for a board member. I've not done it for a board or a big company or anything like that, although I did get to experience watching it happen as OPA, the Organization for Professional Astrology Reincorporated. That was really very cool. But what I have done is done the composite and synastry look around with the company owner and the business chart, right? Because most of the time who I'm working with are smaller businesses. Okay,
So
so
that would be 2 charts or 3 charts?
3. I like
Okay,
3.
yeah.
Mercury's high in the sky for me. I'm like, is there more information I could gather? So I just like to know through the lens of the synastry, how do you two work together? Because the one thing I do not like and I do not encourage people to do is to try to run their business with their own chart. You may be interested in these things, but what does your business want to do? So through the lens of synastry, I like to see, how do you guys rub each other and act as those permanent transits on one another? Because then you have to relationship, right? And then bringing the composite together, it's like, well, what's the true journey for you and your business together? What are you both meant to do here and to create in the world out here? So in that way, definitely look at them, definitely use them and take them through that lens.
So that sounds like a beautiful use of the composite chart, by the way, between that of the owner and the business. I'll leave you with this question. Do you know where asteroid Storm is in your chart?
I only know because you just told me, and I have no idea what it means. I would have no idea how to find it. I didn't even know there was one.
Well, I'll tell you, it's very easy. I mean, whether you have a program like Mark Pottinger's asteroid program or Sirius 4, but I love to go just on the internet to www.true-node.com, and that is Jonathan Dunn's site. And if he's got the asteroid files uploaded for the asteroid you need, very easy to get this information. So asteroid Storm in your birth chart is at 3 degrees of Leo and 43 minutes, and it's at 18 and 2 minutes degrees of north declination. So I'll just say that the week of your birth, asteroid Storm was moving 7 minutes per day, so that's pretty slow. And natal Jupiter squares and natal Mercury sextiles your minor planet Storm. So I hope you'll investigate this and get back to me. Stormie, we're all really looking forward to your talk on April 22nd. Those interested can visit the www I shouldn't even be putting those words in. The astrologyfla.com website for further information. And this has been Scott Silverman on behalf of the Florida Atlantic Chapter of the NCGR. Thank you so much.